Right. The story you told last time about the lady who studied for 5 years paper trading.
All right, so let's get going on this part of it.
She did it over
Hey,
and
we
over.
have two new members to our class.
We
We have two new members. Would you mind standing and introducing yourself, Debbie, please?
Good evening, my name is Ludine Terry Johnson, and my husband.
My name is Freddie Johnson.
I'm glad you're here.
Good to be here.
Virginia. Would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Sure. I'm Virginia Benny from Corpus Christi, Texas. I've known Gary here a long time, quite a while, so I understand he's having a really good session here, and I just wanted to check it out.
Well, thank you. Love being here tonight. Good. Okay, now, for the benefit of those who haven't been here, why do we have this class? Why? What's the purpose of this class? Liberty. Liberty from what? Or liberty to achieve what? What do we want? Prosperity. Independence. Right? Independence, prosperity. We want to be able to do the things that we were born to do and not have to worry about taking care of those other nasty little things like making money. Okay? Because in terms of prosperity, we want great relationships, right? We want great health. We want great wealth, and we want to do it from the God-centered principles of our spirit, not from our brain and heart, which is our human side. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. How many people here have heard the name Robert O'Neill? Recently in the news. Robert O'Neill. How many people? Anyone here? Okay, what about SEAL Team 6 and Osama bin Laden? Makes sense? Okay. He's one of the people that was involved in SEAL Team 6 who claims that he killed Osama bin Laden. But the problem is, he didn't. He didn't. I'm not saying this to criticize anyone. I just want you to understand, as you develop this spiritual center, when people tell you things, you'll know immediately, is it correct or is it not correct? Now, you may not know why, but you immediately know that something is right or wrong. Immediately, from here. From here. Now, this, people can lie to you very easily, and they can get past our human side easily, but not from here. And it's interesting that now that he's going around the country saying that he did this, more and more people are beginning to criticize him, and they're beginning to say that's not true. But the first time I heard that on Fox News, immediately I knew that wasn't right. Okay? So we're training you, Jack and I are training you, to get into your spiritual center so you can refer and go back to good, positive things as to get you out of the situations that you're in now and get you into a life of prosperity. That's what I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on people trying to take advantage of us. I want to focus on how we can liberate ourselves and like being clear about this. Okay, that's our purpose. That's our purpose. That's our only purpose, is to how to liberate ourselves. But in the process of doing that, it is amazing how you'll be able to answer questions on any field, no matter what it is. Even if you're not an expert in that field, you'll be able to know at least what's right or what's wrong, at least generally. Okay? It's amazing what you're capable of doing. Absolutely amazing. Now, let's go into what we're doing. Take out your money, and I'm going to ask you to hold on to that. Okay, again, for the benefit of people that haven't been here before, why are we using money? Why? Why are we holding on to that roll of money? Why? What's our reason?
Energy.
The energy.
Energy. Right. It's the energy of prosperity. I can't refer to someone's health. I can't refer to their relationships. But that money is a measure of prosperity. Tangible. Tangible level. I'm asking people to use anywhere from $100 to $1,000 to roll it up and carry it with them so they can hold on to that and start releasing their prosperity. Jenny, you got that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so $1,000 for you, please. 500 to 1,000 for you, okay, please. Okay, so by holding on to that, we start now getting involved with the universe and starts opening ourselves up, so now we are sensitizing more of ourselves. Okay, that's one of the reasons why we're using this. Yes?
You want us to carry that amount of money around with us all the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if you lose it, then, I mean, even if you lost it,
No, I'm not worried about losing it, I just was,
right?
just worried.
If you could. And I would drive with it in my hands. You know, I would exercise with it. I would go to bed with it. I would hold on to it as often as I can, because that is a reminder also that I want to get plugged into the concept of the universe and get plugged into prosperity, rather than to get plugged into the problems of the world. Because every time I don't get plugged into prosperity, I am dealing with the problems of the world, and that's going to draw me down.
And that's not love of money.
No. It's the love of opportunity that will take us to the concept of prosperity. Prosperity. It's the only thing I have that I can refer to objectively. Okay? Just an objective measure like the stock market. Yes?
Instead of paper money, I like to carry a silver dollar.
Okay.
That's real money.
That's true, it is. I'm sure we're going to have about 1,000 of those in their pocket.
I have one real one and 999 virtual ones.
Those are easier to carry.
That's one. Okay. All right, so that's a little prop that helps. Okay? A little prop that helps. This week, how did your successes go using your keys? Jim, you had some good information.
Just one day,
Okay.
and I looked at the day, and I think I know what happened, but one day I got 7.
7 out of 7?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, Virginia Butler, right? Remember her? Okay, she's 90 years old, right? She came in this past week, and again, with 2 out of 2 cards. One card had her name on it, the other card didn't. Shuffled them up 4 times. She got those 4 right. The previous 5 days, she got 30 out of 30 correct. Okay. I shuffled 3 cards in front of her. 2 blanks, 1 with her name. Now at first she panicked. Because now there are 3 cards on the table in front of her. So she lost it. She didn't get it right. But then she settled down. And the next 2 times we did it, she got it right. She picked her name out twice after she got past her fear. So one of the limiting factors preventing us from doing this work is our psychology. It's our psychology. Okay, that's one of the biggest. The amount of sleep that you get, the food that you're eating, the environment that you're in, the people around you, any of those things can also create problems. But you'll find your psychology is the one that probably matters the most, and is the most difficult to overcome. So we've been talking about overcoming that psychological response we have, because we all have a program in our brain and heart that's attempting to probably stop us, self-sabotage in one way or another. We've talked about using this technique right here, about clearing our space, putting ourselves into a sphere, and clearing that energetically. Now, for those of you who've been coming to the office or coming to the classes, I've taken you through a lot of that. So we put this sphere around us, several feet in front of us in all directions, and then we say 3 times, we command 3 or 4 times for any demons or dark forces to leave that area. Now, what I've been doing recently is I've imagined that within this sphere I have a large hand that comes into this whole area and just extracts anything that's going to create problems, and the moment that hand leaves this sphere, it closes down and it's clean. I've been doing that in place of commanding 3 or 4 times. Okay? That seems to work very well for me too. All right, so something simple. Come up with good ideas for yourself. Yes?
Could that help clear out just the confusion or the memories and stuff as opposed to just the dark spirits?
And yes, it's very good if you're going anywhere, having any kind of business meetings, even working on yourself. It's wise to clear yourself, clear the environment.
No, I just meant using that kind of a hand sort of thing. I do the demons, but it doesn't ever feel like everything gets out.
It seems to work better when I use the hand, scoop out, at least for me. Okay. All right. So then we have our physical self in that sphere, where we're giving permission to God, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, angels, or anyone else that you worship, giving that energy permission to come through, going straight through, going into the earth, coming back on through, and then you see your energetic form standing opposite you, and we let that energy go through, back up to heaven, and create this circle that begins to release some of our deepest problems. Okay? And we're using our energetic self, as we're looking at ourselves, we're looking at the brain, heart, and spirit areas of our energetic self. And in roughly 10 or 15 minutes of doing this, those three areas, brain, heart, and spirit, they get much brighter. Or at least that's what I've seen for myself. What about you? What have you seen? Is that pretty much true? Okay. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes. And once you get good with this, you might be able to do it in 5. Okay. Now, we've done that. But there is also some nagging problems for me that still haven't gotten away. They still are there, and they have been there. And I've been working on some ideas, and this week someone said something very important to me. They said, can you think about asking a positive question? For example, suppose I wanted to make a good choice in the stock market. You know, whatever your stocks are that you're looking at. Suppose you would say to yourself, why is it that I always make good choices in the stock market? That's a very good question. Okay. Does that make sense? Or why is it that I've been very successful at eliminating whatever nagging programs I have that are preventing me from doing X, Y, or Z? Why am I so successful in doing that? Turning it into a positive question, and then giving yourself a list of answers, specific answers that are true about that. If you want to, sure. It's up to you. This
So,
actually came from her.
I was reading a book and I came across it, kind of jumped out at me this week. It's called Affirmations, and it's for anyone who's studied this kind of stuff. You can say affirmations till you're blue in the face, but they never seem to really work because you don't believe them. So if you've tried that, you're probably familiar. You can tell yourself that you're wealthy and you're gorgeous and you're whatever, and it tends not to work. So I was reading a book that talks about how you bridge this belief gap, which gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And the way you get to where you want to be is, instead of telling yourself that you're things that you don't believe, you ask yourself questions about things you would like to have. And what your mind will automatically do is start searching out the answers. So instead of saying, why do I always get my picks wrong, and ask for a negative question, you turn it into a positive. Why do the right answers come to me easily? Or why am I so fortunate that I always get my answers right? Or whatever, in any part of your life. And what it does is it helps rewire your brain away from the negatives and to the positives, so that you can actually start to manifest the results that you want. So it's a very different approach. And if you try it, and you can do it with anything, like, why is it easy for me to be in social settings, or why is it easy for me to get up and speak in front of large groups? Anything that you may struggle with, or wish you were better at, or anything that you're working on that you're trying to improve in your life. And I've started doing it in the last week, and it's just amazing how my thought process, I notice how negative my thoughts are. And so it's not as though you're laying positive onto something negative. It's that you're stating what you do want and making it into a question. That way your mind can't get in the way of telling you it's not true. Because once you start telling yourself it's not true, then it's canceled it out. It's gone. So anyways, I wanted to share that because I think it'd be really helpful for what we're doing.
And what's the name of that book?
It's called Affirmations, because you're forming new brain circuitry.
There's a YouTube video on the guy, on the
On the
author.
guy? Nate,
Yeah. So if you just type
St. John.
affirmations,
That's something.
Is
No,
that
it's
YouTube?
St. John. That's his
there's a
name.
YouTube video that explains the concept.
So you know this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. No, it's St. John.
Affirmations, you just type affirmations on YouTube. AFF form.
Form.
Formations,
Yeah.
I found, thank you. I found that by doing the testing we talked about last week, about calibration, and let me go to this for just a moment again for the benefit of people that haven't been here. When we're doing this type of work and we're going to make predictions, we're susceptible to just about anything you can ever imagine in encouraging us to be wrong. Okay? And it could happen at any time. anytime this can happen. I found the best way to ensure that I'm going to make a good choice is for me to calibrate myself with something. Well, yes, we are using the stocks, but I don't want to use the stocks if I'm going to be investing in the stocks to calibrate myself. So we talked last week about using a pair of keys or something similar to this, a pair of keys that seem to be very identical to each other, but one of these two keys opens a very specific door, the stockroom door, and the other opens another part of the office. So in my mind, I'm focusing on just one key, just one key. I've chosen to work on the stockroom door. So what I do is, I kind of put these in my hands and shake them up a little bit so that I can't know where they are. I put them in one hand, you can put one in either hand, I don't care. I keep them away from me, and then I put myself into this circle right here. Okay? Now I imagine that these two keys are at the feet of my energetic self. So I would have this key at my left foot, this key would be on my right foot. Okay, this is what I'm doing right now. So I'm looking at those keys as I'm looking at my energetic self on the floor, like I'm standing on them, and then I ask myself, which of these two keys opens that specific door? Now, in the past, when I would do that, I would have to get into an intense state of relaxation because I have my brain going, you can't do this. I have my heart going, do you realize how hard this is to be able to do this, emotionally speaking? And I have my spirit going, it's trying to shout to me, there's the answer, there's the answer, there's the answer. But I got this and this telling me I can't do this. And you're going to experience the same things. So I followed what Karen was suggesting. I asked a very simple question. I said, why is it so easy for me to do this? And then I realized I needed to focus on the word easy. So then I put the word easy into this energetic field. This is not just the energetic field of gratitude, and not just the energetic field of acceptance or forgiveness. I'm also putting in the word easy. This works for me. So I'm looking at my energetic self. I see both keys on my feet, and then I use the word easy, and as I'm using the word easy, it literally takes me to the correct foot that this key would be on. So I know immediately which key is which. Now I did that up to 25 out of 25 times so far. And if I don't use the easy, then I could maybe go 5. Okay. Now, there's another part to this whole thing I want you to also understand. There could be a time when you could be reversed, that I keep going to the key that doesn't open that door, I go to the other key, because that's happened also. And what do you do then? Well, what you can do is you can understand you're reversed. And if you calibrate yourself using these, and you've done it, say, 5, 8 times in a row, and you are reversed, so you're getting the wrong answer consistently, I have used it to make predictions taking the opposite answer. Now, I know we talked about that. So you can do it. It does seem to work if you calibrate yourself first. Okay? Now, you may change. An hour later, you may go in the correct direction again. You may now be able to take out the correct key each and every time. You might have it. You might be able to sleep. You wake up in the morning, you do this test, same thing might happen. You might be able to pick out the correct key. But if you overworked, or you're unsure of yourself, or something's happened, you may reverse, but this is a good way of testing it quickly. Am I being clear about this? Now, there's nothing magical about holding both keys in one hand. You can put them in one in either hand, it doesn't matter. As long as somehow you can reference these keys in relationship to your energetic self. Now, this is what I'm doing. You may want to do something else to get those answers. Okay? Another way you could do this, we're going to use the principle of resonance. Now, I'm very fortunate because I got a chance to see when TV came in. Okay? I remember when TV was a box about so big, about so tall, heavier than you could ever believe, vacuum tubes, and we had a screen about that big. I remember that. My father was a professional boxer, and every Friday night, they would have the Friday night fights. And he and his two friends would come by, and all during the hour and a half of that fight, they'd be up, swinging, shouting like you can't believe, and the little screen this big, and you have these three guys dancing around this room, and they're fighting and just putting their hands in the air, defending themselves, just mimicking what they're seeing on the TV. So it's just funny to remember things like this. That TV set had such bad reception. It was incredible. You had to get so close to it to see it. It was amazing. So what did you need? You needed a huge antenna on the roof and be able to rotate the antenna in the correct direction to try to get an image. Do you remember any of that? Yeah. So on Saturdays, my mother would be by the TV, I'd be outside, my father would be up on the roof, and my mother's telling me, no, it's not good yet, and I'd be shouting up to my father, and he'd be on the top of the roof turning this antenna. Well, we were using the principle of resonance, that if you take energy and you rotate it or somehow do something to it, we can optimize how it goes through or travels through space or into us. That's the principle of resonance. So there's another thing we can do if we're going to optimize ourselves with a pair of keys. Okay? And this works extremely well. I have two cards. One with the number 1, one with the number 2. Okay, I choose which are the two keys after I shake them up. Which of the two keys is number 1, which one is number 2? I don't know which one they are. I have no idea. I'm just arbitrarily assigning. If I use my hand, I always say, if I use my hand and I position them like this is always key number 1, this is always key number 2. That's what I do. So I always know where key number 1 and key number 2 is. I may not know what they are, but that's how I know this. Am I clear about that? Okay. So what I do then is I take these two cards, and I imagine that these two cards, cards number 1 and 2, are at the feet of my energetic self. So I imagine these two cards are down there by the feet of my energetic self. And I'm holding these two keys, I'm holding these two cards, but I imagine these pair of cards are down there by the feet of my energetic self. So what I do now is, I use the words, this is easy, this is easy, this is easy, and then I start rotating my hand, just like I'm rotating that old antenna on the roof, and at some point as I'm doing this, and I'm using the word easy, it's like boom. That word easy goes to the correct foot, which corresponds to one of these two numbers, which corresponds to the correct key. It works beautifully. Beautifully. There's a reason my father almost fell off the roof there 5 times. Okay? But this works beautifully. Okay? And it's so accurate, it's amazing. Now, you don't need a pair of keys. Roger had a great idea about what to use. Roger, would you mind telling him what you use?
Yeah, I believe in Texas souvenirs, and I make Texas goodies, and I save things like bottle caps. Here's from Lone Star Beer, it's got a nice Texas star on it. And here's one from St. Arnold, and it has a state of Texas on it. And they're identical, you cannot tell the difference. So that's what I hold, one in one hand and one in the other hand. And then I took a magic marker and I put a Y and an N inside for yes-no questions. And it's worked very well for me because this is a lot easier for me than carrying keys. And it's worked very well.
Yeah. So you see, it's not limited to something like this. You can use your imagination. You can use anything you want. I would suggest, though, no matter what you decide to use, and that's a great idea, Roger, no matter what you decide to use, you might want to try a pair of cards and just focus the cards like as you're looking at your feet, and whatever you've got in your hand for those two items, move them and watch how that works so you can optimize yourself. It works beautifully.
When your energy's reversed, would it help for you to get grounded? So, like when we've tested, and then we've been able to wipe on the back of the person to help reverse it. Well, when you're by yourself,
right,
would it help to get grounded? And
it would
that reverse you back to?
I haven't tried that, so I'm not sure, but I'm sure it would, but I'm not sure how to ground myself if I'm by myself. That's the whole thing. I mean, I've tried hugging a tree and doing other things like this. It just doesn't seem to work for me. For me, I have to either rest, or I have to give myself some time, or I have to do something to change my energetic system, or go out and exercise, or do something physical to start changing that energy. for me. But then things will change. Yeah,
When you're talking about the cards,
yes.
do you need to make real cards, or can you just visualize cards at the feet after you sign them?
You can visualize if you want, but this will be far more powerful.
But you were using cards and then visualizing the cards.
Right, right, it's far more powerful. Plus, it's fewer things for you to have to remember. I want to keep this as simple as possible. If these are in your hands, it's very easy to see it. You don't have to use too much of your brain capacity elsewhere. You can focus everything in one place. Okay? Anyone else? Yes?
So you're holding the two keys in the hand, and you know which one is number one and which one is
I
number two.
arbitrarily have assigned number 1, number 2. That's for me. Yes.
Okay. And then in your other hand, you've got two cards.
Right.
And one card has a 1 on it, and one card has a 2 on it.
Right.
And then you are visualizing seeing these two cards at the feet of your energetic self.
Correct. Let me go just one moment. Okay, so I arbitrarily said this is key 1, this is key 2. Okay, that's the way I've designed this. I'm holding the cards, so key 1, key 2. Same way I have them in my hand.
Okay.
Okay,
And
keep
then,
going.
and then you're seeing one of the cards go one way or the other?
Okay.
I'm not
All right, no, that's good, that's good, and that's a very good question. What I'm doing is, I've made a statement, because remember we've talked about making statements, a simple statement. Show me which key opens the stocking door. That's my simple statement, real simple. So I put that statement into my energetic field. It comes up to my energetic self, and that statement is blanketing my entire width of my energetic self right through that energetic body. That simple statement. Show me which key opens that stockroom door. It's just like it goes right on through. Okay, full width. Okay, so it's covering both of those feet, and it's full width. So then I let it, I see that happening, I see that statement happening, I see it going through the energetic field in my mind, and then I say to myself, well, this is easy. This is very easy. And I keep saying that over to myself, this is easy, very easy, and then, boom. The word easy will shift over the correct number. It'll literally shift, like the word easy is another element of that field that's going through the full width of my body. But then as I keep saying, it's easy, it shifts automatically to either one side or the other side completely. Do you understand where I'm going, what I'm saying? The word easy is the key point for me that goes into that resonant state that shifts over either to this side of my energetic body or to this side completely to my energetic body, which tells me immediately which of these cards is the correct number, which then corresponds to which of these keys is the correct number. Am I being clear? Go ahead, Sharon.
So you feel it or see it, or
I see it.
you're seeing the
I see
card
it.
move?
I actually see the energy, the easy energy, shifting, like water being diverted. Like water's going into a stream, and you divert that water into another stream. I'm actually watching that energy divert to literally one side of my body or the other side. But now it's not going through both sides when I say that. It's like a divining rod finding water. It goes right to that spot. Yeah, that's what it does for me. And I'm telling you this not to confuse you. I'm telling you this to start thinking about a lot of different ways of doing this. And no one has all the answers. This does work well for me. And the reason why it works well for me is I must have sometimes a huge negative statement, self-sabotaging me to try to keep me in that wrong state. So I get the wrong answers at times about money. So I have to go to extreme lengths for me to overcome that so I can get the right answers. For me, this technique takes all of this anxiety out of me so I can look at it objectively and know exactly which key is which, so I can calibrate myself and do the things I want to do.
Do you find that if you're talking to somebody else about their opportunities, you don't have as much trouble seeing what's right and wrong as opposed to when you're trying to do it for yourself?
Oh, I was at PetSmart a couple of nights ago. Gentleman's in front of me, and the cashier tells him that she's giving him $10, and she wants to know, does he want a $10 bill or 2 5s? I immediately said he wants 2 5s before the guy could say anything. And he says, I want 2 5s. Right? And he looks at me and goes, how did you know?
But if she'd asked you the question?
Well, I wouldn't have taken his money.
No, I mean...
You set me up for that. It would be the same for me, for things like that that are simple. But for some reason for me, I don't know why, maybe my background, maybe because of what I came from, I'm not sure, but when it comes to money or investing money, I have to do things to get past my own self-sabotage. I have to. Yeah. Now, for you it could be something else. You may self-sabotage yourself elsewhere, I'm not sure. But until we get good at this, and until we start making predictions, you're not going to really know where those areas are. Because the more you do this, whether it's about keys or anything else, you're going to start seeing this is going to take you far, far afield. Far beyond this. The many other different areas. And certainly one of those areas, if not more, you're going to be highly sensitive to that, and you will self-sabotage. So, you have to find for yourself what works for you. This works for me. And if the ante goes up and up and up, and if my programs go up and up and up, I'll keep believing that God will give me more and better answers to override those programs until they change. Because there's no way that I'm giving up. Not when we're so close. Now, I believe the reason why people have never done this before is simply because no one's ever thought of the idea of calibration. It's very easy to say that, we're talking about spirits coming in and talking about your ancestors and telling you different things about them. That's okay, because a lot of that can't be proven. But when you're looking at a number like a stock, you're looking at something that puts you on the line and you're either right or wrong, not too many people have ever done that. I believe we can do it. We just have to get past our limitations. Okay. But that's where we're going. That's the purpose of the class, is to get past those limitations. Because on the other side of those limitations is the prosperity we've been talking about. That's the relationship with God. Am I being clear? Okay. So, we're going to practice tonight. We have enough time, we're going to practice. We have a sheet with envelopes 1 through 7. 1 through 7 right up here. Okay. Everyone have the first sheet? Okay. Right now, for those of you who weren't here before, we have statements and envelopes 5, 6, and 7. These envelopes right there, 5, 6, and 7, right up here. Now the other 4, they have specific questions. Okay, but 5, 6, and 7 just has a yes or a no. How are you going to handle those? 5, 6, and 7. What are you going to do for those?
Just ask for
Same
yes
thing.
or no.
Same thing meaning what? For the benefit of people that haven't been here before, what does that mean? What do we do?
Basically the same thing we're doing for envelope 1, 2, 3, and 4. We know details about it, but it really doesn't need to know details about it. We just need to know what the answer is.
Right. Our spirits know the answer. They know the answers to all of our questions. They know the answers to everything we'll ever be asked. Well, in these 3 envelopes, 5, 6, and 7, I'm asking you questions. A yes or no question. Now, your spirit already knows that answer. It already knows it. The question is, though, how will you get your yeses and nos? How will you know those? I used a pair of keys because I'm looking for a specific key. But you could easily call one of these a yes or a no. Same way. Same way. You could easily put on these cards, one could be a yes, one could be a no, and you can imagine looking at that at the base of your energetic feet, and that energy's going through, and you're asking yourself, you're going through envelope 1, for example, so you're showing the energy of envelope 1 going into this energetic field. We don't care what's in that envelope. You already know the question anyway about that, but we'll send that statement into this field, okay? And we'll have a yes or a no at the bottom of those feet, those energetic feet. This is just an example. And you might just say some word to yourself that makes it simple for you. Like I use the word easy. Maybe the word accurate would be better for you. But you might ask yourself the question, why is it so easy for you to get all 7 of those correct? So why is it easy for you to get all 7 of those correct? Start with that. That's what I did, and I came up with the word easy. It helped me. Being clear? For those of you who haven't done this before, it may not be so simple. Okay? And I don't expect it to be simple. You will get to the point, though, of knowing the answers if you practice. It just takes practice. Okay? But for tonight, just imagine somehow you can sense a yes or a no for each one of those envelopes, if you can sense that. Or see it, or somehow feel it. I don't care how you do it. So we'll take about, say, 7 minutes, and we'll look at our answers. Okay, I'm going to pass out then these sheets. Okay, pass out here. And we'll go back here. And pass that across. Here's G. G. Okay. Okay. It's back there. Okay. All right.
Thanks. I think I'm separated.
All right, so look at statements 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Okay, so take a look at those 3 statements, 5, 6, and 7. Does that change your answer? Okay. Give you a couple more minutes for that. We're not going to open them yet, not yet. Maybe 2, we won't open those yet, Jack will get ready. All right, you get one of them. Roger, you'll get one. Jeff, let me give you one. Okay. All right. Everyone done? Looking at it? You ready?
Ready as we'll ever be.
Sharon, I believe you have envelope 1. Would you mind standing and tell people what's there? Guess we can call that yellow, right? Okay. All right.
It's cool.
Okay, who has number 2? Stand and show people what's there.
$5 bill.
Okay, who has number 3?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
Opposite all the way down.
No, a bison?
Bison.
You and I are doing the same.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's, I guess, black.
One for line.
Okay, so what's wrong? That was- Roger, that was
That
that
should be
5?
false.
Was that 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Five.
Okay. Who has 6? Jeff, do you have 6?
That's 7.
7? Okay.
I have pumpkin's answer.
Ah,
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin's my cat.
Yes.
Thank you. Very appropriate. You get that.
Yeah, it is very.
Is that why you're
appropriate.
shopping at PetSmart to find a toad?
Never leave home without one.
I have a brother-in-law that does 3D printing.
May need that.
Number 7. The answer is
Okay.
Oh.
Ah, okay. Here is the pyramid, and we'll get that open. Here we go.
Nothing's in there.
Nothing in there. Completely empty.
Now,
Where's the pyramid coming
that
in?
was
Not questioning it. Yeah, that was one of the 5, 6, or 7.
pretty good.
Okay, so let me ask, out of the 7, did anyone get 3? Good, very good, very good. Excellent. How about 4? Good, very good. Well, 5. Wow, very, very good. 6. Fantastic. 7. Hey, you guys are doing great. You're absolutely doing great. That's phenomenal. That's, 3, oh, that's phenomenal. Good job. Yeah.
I have a fascinating thing. Okay, I did my keys, I was reversed, I got the answer wrong. So then I thought, okay, well, let me just try it even being reversed, but I went with the reversed answer on the first 4. As soon as I didn't have a statement, I got them all right.
Interesting, isn't it? What do you think that shows? What do you think
No
that shows?
idea.
Brain's getting in the way.
Yeah.
My brain's getting in the way.
Brain, heart, our human side's getting in the way. We're putting ourselves under pressure. Virginia, she's 90 years old, has nothing to prove. She just does it for the joy, and she just does it because she really likes the psychic work. She believes in all of this, and she just has an easy time with this, a very easy time with this. The moment we start putting ourselves into this, we put our ego into this, our fears, our angers into this, we're going to be wrong. Very wrong. Danny, can you just tell them about Desiree? Since she's not here tonight, could you just take a moment?
Sure, so it's not my story and I don't have all the details, but she said
And Desiree's one of the members of the
she
class.
had her 3-year-old. She had the 2 cards, she said, and she asked, I think one had her name and one was blank. And she asked her to, she shuffled around and asked her to pick. She said she got 20 out of 20.
Wow.
After 20, she said she started losing focus, but before she went wrong, she got 20 out of 20.
Wow. Not surprised though.
That's fantastic.
This is so
Yeah. Sure. Can I ask you, please, could you read the homework statement from Winston Churchill? Would you mind reading that to the class? Would you mind standing up and read that?
Winston Churchill wrote, "The inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings. The inherent virtue of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries."
Okay, thank you. Now, why am I giving you that quote? Why?
So we can give up our misery.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist, through and through. I believe in capitalism. I believe it's the best system in the world. However, capitalism, like everything else, has to come from God. It has to be used correctly. If I win, you win. If you win, I win. It's not like I win and you lose. That's the wrong form of capitalism. The type of prosperity we're talking about is we win. All of us win because it comes from God. Whatever is right for me is right for you. But I believe that that is the right form of living. And to prove that, there's a show on TV. It's on CNBC. It's called The Prophet. And the profit is spelled in terms of financial. This is a gentleman who goes into businesses that are going under. He saves them. He saves them out of using his concept of God. Yes, he makes a lot of money, but he makes sure everyone else makes money. All the people that are in that company, he saves their jobs. He makes sure that they understand what they did wrong. He makes sure that they now work the right way so that now this company is successful and profitable. It's a fantastic show. Now, he doesn't know what he's doing. He just naturally is using his spirit. But you may want to watch this. If any of you think that having money is evil, watch that to show yourselves how you can use prosperity to help others. Watch that. That's your homework assignment. Because I want every one of us in this room to be prosperous.
What night and time is it on? Do you know?
Well, it's on Tuesday night, I know that. Then it comes on other nights during the week, but it's on CNBC. Okay, The Prophet. Okay, please watch it. Now, during the week, I'm going to be sending you 3 statements, just like we're doing here. I'll have 3 envelopes with yes or no answers. I want to give you a lot more practice. You guys have done very well. Very well. Give yourselves a hand.